Hey, Katie. Oh my God. Are we really doing this?
We are. Welcome to Higher Downloads, where two moms, entrepreneurs, and spiritual seekers are getting real about doing our best to live life in alignment.
Yeah, and by getting real, we mean the raw, unfiltered voice memo version of ourselves.
And you know what we're really obsessed with lately: higher
hmm
downloads.
You know that moment when clarity arrives seemingly from nowhere? That's it. That's the higher download from your highest self.
Exactly, because we know everyone has the ability to access their own higher downloads. So nothing is off limits here. Everything in the wheel of life, from career, spirituality, motherhood, relationships.
Yep, everything. And really through the lens of higher consciousness and joy. And we have to share our higher downloads too, right? So grab your coffee
Or your crystals, or whatever you need to have fun with us.
and get ready to tune in to your own wisdom channel because receiving higher downloads means you can live your life in HD.
Higher Downloads starts now. Welcome back to Higher Downloads.
Welcome, friends.
We are laughing so hard because pre-recording we were catching up and realized we were about to have our own episode unrecorded if we didn't hit the record button.
Yeah, we were just going. We were just going, and then we're like, oh, wait, we should probably hit record.
Record. All right. So here we are, and we're talking about the Olympics.
My goodness. Okay, so the Olympics wrapped up, and they're never short of any kind of story. Like, there's always stories. There's something about sports that makes me emotional. I was an athlete. I know what it takes with the grit and the grind and the love and the passion and the pain and the hurt. And then when you bring athletes from around the world, there's just so many stories. And so we thought that could be a really rich thing for us to chat about. Yeah.
There were so many stories. And yes, I agree. The commitment that goes into getting to the Olympics and the level of expertise, how much mindset, how much higher downloads, how much abundance you have to be that level. It's such a beautiful example then to learn more about these humans that are doing it. So it has been a rich Olympics for me as well, watching some of these athletes, particularly the women out there.
Oh, of course, the women. Yeah, that's actually what I want to focus on is the women because that's who deserves the attention.
And there were a lot of stories. Like, I know we're going to talk
So
about the
many.
hockey story, but that's not the only one of even the male athletes supporting the female athletes. This is such an era of women's sports. I love to see it.
Yeah, this isn't fact checked, but I remember hearing an announcer say that this was the Olympics with the most women's events ever. So, or something about the most number of women athletes or more events than ever, but something about kind of reaching a point of a turning point. So that was exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And just in my world too, I mean, I see people, I think it's Nike that has the thing of like everyone watches women's sports. Like, and I've saw a man wearing that at the women's basketball game that we were at. And I'm like, I love it. There's this era, it's more spoken versus unspoken. And there's just a lot of that going on. And even in my day-to-day life, my girls have been doing tumbling and they're doing this new sport called stunt. And I'm like, I was a what was it called? Like a private cheer, like when you were on just like a club team. I did clubs
Oh,
cheer in high school and it wasn't a sport, right? That was just like an extracurricular activity. And now they're finally making it into an official sport. It's got different rules than how it was done in club, but it's like so cool to see. They're finally translating it into a quote unquote sport that will then be truly competition and measured at the same level instead of kind of like cheers afterthought or like a lesser than activity.
yeah, like, oh, how nice for them to be on the sidelines while the men play. No, it's an insane sport. I mean, look, if curling or badminton is a sport, stunt is for sure a sport.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well, I kind of want to get into a few of the stories, and the one that is the most inspiring to me that makes me want to tear up every single time is Alyssa Liu. You know, I'm talking about the figure.
Yes. She had the hair. It was so interesting, right? With the different colors. And that
She
was part of her
is,
story, right?
yeah, like Katie, she's higher downloads vibes.
100%. 100%.
is higher downloads vibes. The exuberant joy that this woman exhibited on the ice and off the ice with her competitors was what the world needed into this time of war and pain. It really goes to show you that joy is a form of resistance. And yeah, her hair is the whole point of it because she wasn't going to slick it back and be one color. And I think that's, well, you mentioned mindset earlier. You said like mindset, but I think mental health really has been a front and center in the Olympics, especially since a few years ago with Simone Biles. But for her to quit the sport and then come back on her own terms, we know that. We know like starting our business on our own terms. Like we know what that feels
Absolutely.
like.
And just opting out of the other person's rules that they're applying to you that you're like, no, no thanks. Opting
No
out,
thanks.
not for me. And did you see that she actually like explicitly had a list of requirements for her to come back? Did you see that?
Okay, I didn't see a physical list, but I heard people said that she came back on her own terms, but she made a list and shared it
Yes.
or
Okay. Yes. So her dad, I guess, is very involved. And then she had a coach too, right? And very typical for, I think she was 16 the first time she
Mhm.
competed. So at that
Yep.
age,
She
they're
retired at
directing
20 too. She
her.
started younger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure she started very young, but like she was being coached and curated by these men who are like coming from a place of trying to get her to win, right? But giving her all these rules. And so the list I saw, and I don't have it in front of me, so it might not be exhaustive, but she basically said, I'm only coming back if I can eat what I want because they were starving her, if I can have control or input over my choreography,
The
what I
creative
wear, what my hair looks like. That was one of them. So like then the hair statement was
and
obviously a
hair.
statement. Love it. And yeah, and like train when I want. Like she explicitly was like, you're not going to starve me. You're not going to tell me everything. I'm going to have sovereignty over this involvement. Is so badass.
Every cell in my body rejoices at that. Like I can see moments, there are milestones in my life where I had this thing of like, no to an abusive father, like no to emotionally immature mother, like no to a system that was oppressive, well, multiple. Like it's and so as a woman, it's like we recognize that. We recognize the generations of oppression and fitting into the patriarchal, wounded masculine energies. And she's like, and how funny that figure skating is like the most divine feminine like
Yeah. Yes.
thing.
It's
And
strength and creativity and flow and yeah. And then to be operating
oh,
from a, that rigid place of control and overbearing and whatever. Yeah, so cool.
it's like that redemption arc with her mental health and her autonomy. And that is like, was a gold and a win for everyone. And oh, I'm getting chills right now. It's like, it's so special. And then it wasn't performative. I mean, obviously she's
Yes.
performing a dance, but her joy was not performative.
No.
That you cannot fake that. It is the bubbling up. We know that feeling. Like it's that bubbling up of like pure creative source energy.
Yes. Well, I
And then
literally was watching hers and then I would watch the others and you can physically see the others that are basically like you can tell they're in their head, they're memorizing, they're trying to get it perfect, they're tense. And
tense,
they're just
tense.
like performing in like a I'm controlling performing perspective versus being like glowing, radiating, like just like exuberant, like joy coming through it and doing it for she literally said she was doing it from fun, from joy. And then
Enjoy.
she wins. That wins.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. And you're right. When you were just describing that, what it reminds me of is like they're performing from fear and scarcity. She's performing from joy and abundance, right? And what's so interesting is even if the outcome was that she won the silver or whatever, right? It doesn't and someone else won silver and bronze. So the outcome is the outcome. But what I've come to understand, especially through my spiritual journey, is the journey matters and how you feel during the journey
Oh,
matters. So who cares if you have that medal hanging on your wall? If
yeah.
you felt like shit, you were starved, depressed, and pushed beyond your boundaries to get it, the meaning behind that medal on your wall is not the same. The journey matters,
No.
right?
Because then, even when you walk off that podium, imagine you're walking off and you're feeling relief because it's done, because it was hard, versus she's going back to joy and having fun. And, it probably is like an even further step up from stepping off of that podium.
Ooh, the word that just dropped in when you said that is additive. Like this
Mm,
medal's just additive to her life. Like she didn't need it,
absolutely.
but it's additive. And like I bet some people and athletes, I'm not hating on them. I think there's a lot of pain and suffering as a part of it. Like some people accept as a part of that structure, but it's the medal is almost like something they need to feel like that pain was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can absolutely relate to that and having been in that position. That if you don't win, it's like, what was this all for? Brutal.
Or, oof, yeah. So her story, just amazing. Like, love it. And lots of memes, lots of gifs, lots of things about her. I love that she's made the headlines across the globe for that. So, Alyssa Liu, we love you. We would love to have you as a guest, but maybe you're not able to because you are just frolicking in fields of dandelions and tulips. So, good for you, girl.
Yes. Well, while we're on ice skating, did you see, I can't recall his name, the guy who did the backflip that was like they call it like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Uh, I know the backflip, but for some reason, this person's not ringing a bell.
Okay, I'm gonna
No,
look it
I
up.
wasn't able to be glued to the Olympics thing
Ilya, Malinin.
who they were
In
competing.
this Olympics, he did it says he was the first to legally land a backflip on one skate in the Olympic competition after a 50-year ban. So like they had banned it. Do you recall this now?
No.
No. Okay. Wow. Love it.
I know. I have many other headlines that I'm ready to talk about, but please,
Yeah.
they
So there was a
banned it,
woman back in 1998 who did it and she was penalized. And then it was banned because it was so dangerous. Like people were getting hurt.
but she landed it and so they penalized her?
They penalized her as she did it as an act of protest, but then they made her score lower. Like they penalized her score because she did it. And now, yeah, now he did it and he wins gold.
We're gonna
Just
have
like,
to, oh, of course, the man, yeah. Well, we're
yeah.
gonna have to circle back on the word protest in a little bit, but okay. But he did it and it was cool.
He did it and it was cool. And he definitely was like, it was a very proud, prideful, it was really cool. And I mean, he's very impressive. His skating abilities are really impressive. But yeah, I just thought that was such an interesting storyline that like this band thing for so long, he's now being praised as like, "Oh, he did it." And like the last time this was like big news was a woman doing it and she was like penalized for it. So the irony.
Yeah. I don't think it's irony. I think it's misogyny, but
Yeah.
yes.
True, true, true. Patriarchy at its
Yeah,
best.
that's interesting. And it is fascinating. Like one thing that was cool to watch my son, like watch Lincoln watch this Olympics is just like the jaw-dropping things. You're like, this is superhuman. Like you really have to tap into your higher consciousness. Like you have to believe that the bounds of the human body are not what they look like they are. And I mean, when they are those skiers, when they go out that slope and do all those crazy things, talk about death trap move or whatever, and their skis like could just hit in the snow and like literally paralyze them. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just insane what they can do with their bodies. It is, I think that's what does make it so exciting for people to watch is like we do get to see what is the human capacity? Like what is possible for humans?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you pay attention to the Lindsey Vonn injury?
Yes, yes. I
That
have
was
so many
really
thoughts.
painful. Yeah.
It
Where
is
are you at?
painful. And God, when I heard that she had torn her ACL and might not be able to compete, I just felt so sorry for her. Like her injuries have been plaguing her. I know she wants it so bad. Like you could feel her energy. And when I heard she was going to do it anyway, I just had this like feeling of dread and I was like, okay, how can I just send her positive energy, right? Like, and then I watched it live. We watched it live and it was like,
Mm-mm.
heartbreaking. And it's so unfair, especially for women. Like, freaking Simone Biles gets crucified for taking a break for her mental health, and then Lindsey Vohn's getting crucified for trying to go for it. Like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
Can you can you do the parallel bars? And can we
The double
not?
standard is exhausting.
It's
I can't handle it.
exhausting. Yeah, what else do you want to say about Lindsay?
Yeah, I had literally, like, I get squeamish about the medical stuff anyway. And like, when I heard she was doing it, I was just like, no, there is no reason to think that your body is going to just ignore this tear. And you like, oh, I hated to hear it. But yeah, I did think it was a bit like, why are we doing this to ourselves? But I don't know. I'm not an Olympic athlete, and I know she's been at this for so long anyway that I would really be ashamed to go out and not try. And like, I don't know if she's going to go it again in 4 years, right? It's a dance, and the Olympics are so hard because they're so spaced out. But noof, I don't know. It definitely hurt my heart, and the energy didn't feel high thinking about that of like why she was maybe doing it.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, again, like everyone's choices, it's their life, their choice. But I guess what I was wondering, what was going through her head was her desire and passion is so high. And she was probably thinking, like, well, this injury could end it, or I could go for it one more time and it'll really end it. Or maybe I will be the most insane story ever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. I was trying to imagine, like, what could be going through her head of, like, but it felt like what's that saying, like, go for broke or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of sayings. But I know when I saw it, ugh, and I have had a partial ACL tear, and it still plagues me when when the weather changes. So I'm
Mhm. Yeah.
like, Lindsay, girl, the pain, like,
Yeah.
ugh. Okay. Yeah, well,
Okay, well,
you feel better and recover quickly.
I hope so too. I absolutely do. I'm sure she will. She has a lot of people around her and access to great things, so I'm sure she will be well on her way. My favorite, I just cannot get over. I could watch her videos on repeat of her interviews, is Eileen Gu. Oh my God, I want to be her best friend. What?
Oh, whew. Okay, the word that comes to mind for me for her is sovereignty.
Oh,
She, how do you have that so young? Like, bottle that up, girl. I am so happy to see women, young women especially, watching this woman.
mm-mm.
And it's
She
almost like the words
confident.
on her own terms, like Alyssa Liu, on her own terms, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna compete for China. And I know I'm an American and Americans are pissed about it. I'm like, she
Don't
can
care.
choose. Who
Yep.
cares?
It's what's right for me and my winning and what I want and my heritage. And oh my God, just her divine power, her certainty, her confidence. I'm like, girl, I wish I had that when I was her age. Like, wow. I
Bottle
honestly,
it up.
but yeah, she is spreading that in the world for sure. And we've talked before about this, and this is a great example of her and Alyssa of this concept of like the generations that are being born into the world now being more advanced. Like we've heard that in the spiritual realm, that, as the younger generation comes in, that they're more spiritually like connected and advanced. And I like those two are perfect examples of like that is not typical for our generation to have been brought up that way, right? To act that way, to be
No,
that way,
no.
to be like supported to be that way. No, like I'm sorry, but show me an example. There's probably a few, but wow, I'm just blown away.
Yep. Okay. Well, she got all kinds of reporter questions, and this man, of course, is like, she wins two silver medals. She's the most decorated free skier in the world. And he's like, do you view this as two silvers gained or two golds lost? Says the fat man reporter who probably struggled to walk up the stairs to the press conference. You want me to tell
But
you how I
her
really feel?
comeback was impressive.
So good, so good. And she's like, the best part is her laugh at the beginning. She's like,
Yeah.
excuse me, sir. What I am doing is insanely impressive. I'm the most decorated. And she says it like I saw some people like going at her, and I'm like, if a man said I'm the most decorated athlete, and it's a fact, which it is a fact, it's not subjective, it's not debatable, everybody be like, oh yeah, he is.
I wouldn't think twice about it. In fact, if he didn't act that way, they would say he's like too humble.
Sweetie, speak up. Yeah. Yeah. And then it was really cute. There was a female journalist. Did you see that? She was like, do you think before you speak? And then she's like, wait, I really mean this in a very positive way. Like, you're so articulate and it comes out so clear. And I'm really glad that the reporter corrected herself because at first that question is like, wait, what? But I thought she was basically having the awe that I believe you and I are having, right? Was that what you're
Absolutely. Well, and she
saying?
even said it in the question of, can you take us inside your head? Like how are you
Yeah,
this way? And that was, I really enjoyed that she asked that and that she
me
took us
too.
inside her process a bit.
Yeah, I loved it too because exactly what you were saying earlier. It's like we were not raised that way. And in fact, I mean, I was raised under like children to be seen and not heard. You don't have a voice. Like it's our way or the highway. Don't
Respect your
talk back.
elders no matter
Respect your
what.
elders. Yeah, and it is what it is. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. I mean, let me keep telling you. So yeah, so for I guess that's maybe an arc around it is like this a level of like sovereignty on my own terms. A lot of the younger athletes dominating, they're in their teens, early 20s, and Gen Z is different.
They are, yeah. It's really impressive, really cool to see. And I really enjoyed in part of her answer to that, she talked about that I spend a lot of time in my head thinking. And she also brought up what I would call manifestation of controlling your thoughts, like paying attention to your thoughts, deciding which thoughts you want, and knowing that you can, some of her quotes said, you can become whoever you want to be. And that's so cool, all based on your thoughts. And that's literally what we talk about all the time is it's really up to you and you dictate. You are like she is the antithesis of victim mentality.
Yes, snap around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, no, I create my life and my desires and my outcomes.
Yep. And I do it with intention. And I am not, you can tell she even answered to say that she spends a lot of time thinking about how she feels about stuff versus just, I don't know, kind of floating around and not really being super intentional or not really thinking about how you feel. And I know for me, when I was younger, I was very afraid to have an opinion. I very much felt like, no, I don't know what I think because that's too decisive and that's too confrontational and that's too, all these things. And wow, she's thinking about her opinions and she's got a perspective and that is
Has a
so
perspective.
impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that. And it's something that hurts me to say out loud and say, but it's true. I remember having this feeling in college being asked by a professor to write a critique essay on an author, and I was like, they've written a book, they're an author, they are in a position of authority. Why would I critique them? And feeling like physically nauseous and uncomfortable with this and then realizing I couldn't allow myself to fully tap into what my real opinions were because it wasn't safe to even share. So then it wasn't, well, I definitely don't want to entertain it because I know it's not going to be in alignment with what some of my
Yeah.
elders. That's been something I've had to work through since like my early 20s.
And was that rooted in your opinion might hurt someone else? Is it rooted in that?
Oh, I think it's a whole little cocktail of trauma. I think that's a piece for sure. I don't want to hurt someone else's feelings. So if I feel different than them, like that's not safe. But also everything we just said about like you don't like it's our way or the highway. It is what it is. I was also told that women only have a place in the home and the only respectable career outside of being in the home is a nurse or an airline stewardess in serving men. It's so hard to say that out loud and know that this is going to be on the airwaves for anyone to hear, but I mean, that is part of my history,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And so, yeah, I just think like when you are consistently told stay in that box, our nervous systems have one purpose and one purpose only, and it's to keep us safe. And safety is what's familiar, and the box was familiar.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
not
And I
anymore,
even
girl.
Not
Not
anymore. No,
anymore.
no, no. No, no. Watch out, world. No, and I think too, her being on such a public platform, right? Like like 'cause there's one thing to be confident, perspective, comfort sharing in your own bubble, right? With your friend group or at
Sure.
work or whatever, but like to be know you're going from your private world to this big public world event
Truly.
and she, no flinch. Like I didn't sense any sense of flinch, nervousness, holding back at all. Like, wow, so impressive.
No, I share that all with the female journalist of like, because with that man, she just like,
Yeah.
anyway, I love it. And yeah, I could talk about Eileen Gu a lot, but another skier who got a misogynistic comment is a Japanese skier, and I didn't know if you had seen that one.
I don't
She was a
know. Yeah,
model.
tell me.
Well, like Eileen Gu, who is a model and is absolutely beautiful, Sarah Takanashi, I think is she's Japanese, also beautiful, was in like Fashion Week, and she's one of another successful ski jumper. She was asked by a male journalist if she thought that her modeling career and her appearance made her more marketable for the Olympics,
Wow.
and if she planned on being pretty or doing fashion work after the Olympics.
Hmm. I don't even understand that question. I don't get it.
Like her value lies in her appearance
Weird.
rather than her athletic achievements. Like, so I guess the point is don't allow male journalists to interview women athletes. Like, what the hell, you idiots? And thank you for reminding us about how deep misogyny is and how stupid it sounds on like airwaves.
Yeah, I'd really be curious to know if that person, whoever asked that, I'm gonna have to go find it and listen to the exact phrasing. I wonder if they've had any reflection since then. Like, is this
I
a
hope
good learning
so.
opportunity? Or is this like a defensive opportunity? Yeah, I'd be
Good
very,
point.
that's my biggest question, right? It's like, I don't think we all have bias. We all have these underlying things that we don't always know we have. But when it is brought to your attention, can you reflect on it and can you pivot? Can you change? That's to
I
me the
appreciate
biggest
that.
sign, right? I don't want to judge everybody for, I've asked dumb questions too that were definitely rooted in
Same.
patriarchy, misogyny, whatever. But what do you do with it when you recognize it is the big question.
I really appreciate that. That is very true. I would be curious to know too, to follow up with those journalists and see, because I agree with you. I've said stupid things too. And yeah, it matters. Like, did you learn from it? Do you realize the pain, the systemic discrimination that is inherent in that, which is a great segue to hockey. You want to go there?
Boy, yeah. Oof. Yeah. All right. I don't even know where to start on this one. I
Okay,
mean,
well, I'll start here.
congratulations to all the winners. That's number one. Congratulations. They played hard, and that's fantastic. Why was Kash Patel at the Olympics in the locker room? Question number two.
American taxpayer dollars.
Why? No, doesn't make any sense at all. And anyway,
So let's back up for those in the community who might not have been as tuned into the Olympics. So the women's U.S. hockey team won the gold. They have been doing amazing, and they have continuously beat the rival Canada multiple times. And I know that's interesting because you're married to a Canadian.
yes. And including as recently as 2 years ago, recently.
Yes.
Now, the
And that's
men's
the
team,
important point because the men's
yes.
team, go ahead, take it from here.
Yeah, the men's team hadn't beat and won for 50 years, I think.
It was a long
It
ass
was a
time.
long time. I don't know if it was that's the exact year, but a long time. And so I want to give credit that like that kind of tension of not beating them that long, right? Like I get it. You're hyped up because you've just won and you've broken this huge streak of being a loser.
Well, wait, can I just pause for a second? I would like to just share my emotional roller coaster because I was in an airport when the men's hockey team won, and it was an eruption. People were clamored all around the TVs, an eruption. And it was like oh, I have chills. I was so excited because the whole cool story was the guy who made the winning shot, like got his teeth knocked out earlier on. I mean, it's storybook. Like you can't write this stuff, you know. It was so amazing and like 1-2 to 1 or whatever. And it's like he, got his teeth knocked out and he gets the winning
Still
shot. Like
played.
redemption, redemption,
Yeah.
still played. Like so that's like a beautiful shot. He's like got his teeth knocked out and we won. And it's been decades since the men have beaten Canada.
And the one teammate who had died from a drunk driver, his kids on the that got brought out to hold the gold, like, oh my God, crying.
Yes. So like I have all the chills. I'm feeling the feels. I'm like, ooh, hockey, like the women hockey and the men's hockey. And I get on a plane.
Yeah.
And then a couple hours later, like I land and the news is blowing up. Now you
Not in
can
a
talk
good
about the
way.
locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what was so hard for me was the emotional whiplash. So then go back to the locker room. Yeah. Take scene, take.
What I saw in my natural progression was that there was a video of Kash Patel holding his cell phone and it said DT, Donald Trump, and Donald and all the hockey guys are standing there and it's all I hear is Donald Trump like telling them like congratulations, whatever. And the big headline is that he basically makes a joke like that they're invited to the White House, right? That's not uncommon for them to get, they win the gold. It's a big deal. They come to the White House. But he makes, and I don't have the exact phrasing, but he makes a
I do.
joke. Okay, you're going to have to share it. He makes a joke about, I guess we have to invite the women too. Like, as if they don't really, like, as if they're lesser than, which there's no other way to argue what he said. But what's the phrasing that you recall or that you
Yeah,
know?
well, and they won 2 days before. So he obviously doesn't call and congratulate them or invite them to the House then, but he acknowledges, well, and his exact words were, we're going to have to bring the women team too. I'd probably be impeached if I didn't. Okay, motherfucker. First of all, you should be impeached for about 97 other reasons.
Yeah. Technically, he already is, right? But apparently it doesn't
He already
matter.
has been. Yeah. And like, are you kidding? Like, and the worst part, because the clip spread rapidly, the worst part is that there are women saying that wasn't a big deal. He was actually saying he was going to invite them. And I think that's where my stomach can't handle it. I can feel the systemic, deep, in like just seeped in patriarchal, misogynist for especially a woman to defend that and to say he wasn't making fun of them.
So here's where my instant energy reaction to all of this is these young guys, these young guys in this sport out there doing their thing, then Donald Trump gets in the middle of it and just oozes gross, toxic.
Gross.
Like they're just standing there happy, like, sure, we're all going to listen to the president telling us this messaging. They didn't ask for him to say that. They're not his best friend. They're not like, it's not like we're just like witnessing Donald Trump do his grossness all over these people that didn't deserve it first. And like then they got backlash for laughing or whatever. But like, come on, like, what are you going to do? The cameras are on you and the Donald Trump, like a president of the United States is talking to you. But I was just like, I knew, I got the feeling instantly that Donald Trump was viewing this as his own personal badge of honor because we've had so much
Good.
conflict that we just had the Canadian Prime Minister give a very profound and impressive speech basically.
Beautifully, professionally scathing.
Yes. And then for the US to beat Canada on the world stage, I like it just made me feel gross that like Donald Trump was definitely wearing that as his own personal badge of honor and it has nothing to do with him. It
No,
was
it doesn't.
really disgusting,
It
honestly.
doesn't have anything to do with him. And Cash Patel shouldn't have been there on the people's dollar either. And I think, the goalie, Jeremy, whatever his last name is, he acknowledged that he felt like really bad about it and the team should have reacted differently. And I think a few of them did too. I'm not excusing them. And I think that's the big whole thing about the locker room. Should boys will be boys. And as a mother of a boy, like, no, hell no. And I have been in situations where I have been subjected unexpectedly to misogynistic patriarchal comments, and I also nervously laughed because what else are you supposed to do? Like,
Exactly.
you
Yes.
know, and like, so I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you that that phone call was ill-timed and really usurped
Yes.
the joy. Like, let me extract your joy from my own feeling of power, which is exactly what it
100%.
is. Everything Donald and his regime wants is power over. So let me extract some of this energy and joy because, like, I want to just like put a feather in my hat about power. He wasn't
Yes.
even really celebrating them.
No, he wasn't. And then for it to be recorded the way it was, like it was literally for the purpose of being like a spectacle. So
Yes. Yes.
toxic. But I agree that I honestly I didn't really engage or see a lot of other people's responses to it because it was just so, but I hear you. I'm sure that there were women that make excuses for that. Like I can totally see that, but I didn't personally experience that kind of justification reaction. I can't speak to that, but I hear you that like that's deeply ingrained denial. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think where I rest on it is the men's hockey team and the women's hockey team have both reinforced their support and respect for each other.
100%.
And I think that's critical, but it's just another symbolic debate about sexism and politic politi politicizing. I don't know, in sports. So I don't know. But it's like it happened, and so what does this say about where we are? And I think that's just
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
You
but it
saw
didn't.
the Saturday Night Live clip of the no?
I'm so far behind on Saturday Night Live. I think it's because
Well, I don't
what's
watch it
happening.
live. I just saw it on Instagram.
Well, yeah, it's called Saturday Night Live. I never watch it live. I'm sleeping. But yeah, I love it, but I'm like not caught up on it. And I think it's because what's happening in the world is so absurd that to make absurdity over it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Tell me what I missed.
So there's a new movie out, or maybe it's a show on HBO Max called Heated Rivalry, and it's about
Yeah,
gay
yeah.
hockey players. So the actor from that movie or show or whatever was on Saturday Night Live, and he was talking, and then he had the guy with the missing teeth and one of the other hockey players come on and like, oh, have you watched my show? And like, whatever. Congratulations on winning, whatever. And then he brings out the two women from the female hockey team and they kind of make a joke of like, oh yeah, I've watched your show. And they kind of all acknowledge what happened, who
Okay.
won, how recently. They kind of just all I felt like they buttoned it up a bit and like kind of laughed at the situation and kind of like stumped their nose a little bit at like the situation that they got put into. So that
Yeah,
was you'll
it
have
was
to watch it.
unfair. It was unfair. And I
Yeah.
think that's like if there's anything about Donald, it's like inserting his nastiness where it doesn't belong.
Goes so many ways.
I emanate joy. Joy is a form of resistance, and I would like to share some joy of two other female athletes, Chloe Kim
Please
and
do.
Jessie Diggins. Chloe Kim, similar to Alyssa Liu, stepped away from snowboarding for a period of time for mental health, and then she had like the greatest half pipe thing ever. And Jessie Diggins, I don't believe she took a break, but she was very open and transparent with the media that she was recovering from an eating disorder and mental health and stuff as an athlete, kind of back to what you had said, like Alyssa Liu being starved. So just women talking about their physical and psychological battles in the 80s and 90s and all that with diet culture and stuff. Like I think that all that stuff was just in the shadows. Women were there was a lot of shame and guilt around it, and so for these brave women to bring it to light, we can't change what we're not aware of. We're not willing to say I'm not alone in this. That's like one of my big things in change management and business. Like you can't change what you're not aware of. And so what a beautiful thing for them to use the world stage and their sport and their influence to help bring this to light for the next generation. So that's
Yeah.
what I want to say about the power of women.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And I do appreciate people being transparent about the battles they're facing internally and the way they're going about addressing it, that it's not shameful, right? That was the whole thing. And it's still much more relevant in male culture to be shameful about needing help or getting therapy, where women have adopted this much faster, much more rapidly. We talk about it much more openly. Honestly, it's like a badge of honor of like, I got my therapist, I got my, like, I'm doing all the
Yeah.
things. And so it's really impressive how I would call it like for them to be that open, how mainstream that has become and
Yep.
that
Yep.
it can be. It's really cool to see. And to see people kind of turn around from it and be able to still come back and be an Olympic level athlete after even still doing that, right? Like having this battle does not mean you can't be amazing at whatever it is that you're doing.
Yes, because I've talked about toxic resilience on this podcast before, and what they are showing is that they didn't succumb to toxic resilience by staying in it, staying starved, staying in pain, staying in the box. They took the break, they filled their cup, they got sovereign, they came back on their own terms with more joy, with clarity, stronger health, and they did it in a way that was aligned to what they needed. So, what I believe is like the reverberation of that in corporate life, in like parent life, in like everything is like, hey, maybe we don't have to accept that the only way is to continue to push through our tears and pain. Like maybe we can take a break. Maybe rest is productive, you know?
And maybe nourishment is part of the process. Like that, maybe that has to be part of the process to truly succeed how we want for it to be a good journey along the way.
Yeah, and when we say maybe, we mean it, yes.
Yes. Maybe that's exactly what it is.
Maybe that's exactly what it is. Oh, okay. So yeah, what just a nice, the Olympics are just like a way to, like a little microcosm of like just seeing what's happening on the world stage.
It is. It's so cool. It really is an essence of the times, and it was a fun one. This last one.
Yeah. So if you saw or heard other Olympic stories and want to weigh in, share with us, please. I'm sure we missed some really great ones, but these were the headlines we knew. Were there any more, any ones you wanted to share? Or...
That's it. You even brought me some new ones.
That's me putting the rap on the Olympics. I didn't understand, but that's what I was singing. Right?
I love it. Thank you for that. I really am grateful for that closing ceremony.
You're welcome. And thank you for coming to our closing ceremony for the 2026 Winter Olympics, higher download style. And with that, trust your sovereignty, trust your comeback, trust your rest and nourishment, and trust your higher downloads.
You just experienced another higher download. We are so grateful you joined us on this journey.
Yep, so if you're feeling that high vibe energy and want more, subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if this episode sparks something in you, we'd be over the moon if you'd share it with someone who might need this download too.
Yep, connect with us on Instagram at Higher Downloads, where we share more behind the scenes magic and some bonus content.
You can also find full episodes, transcripts, show notes, and resources at higherdownloads.com.
Until next time, trust your downloads and keep vibrating higher.